Most people in the world, even among the educated people in the West and among the Mohammedans, have never heard or know the word Janissary or Devshermi. Will you enlighten us?
What you have just said regarding the ignorance of most people about these two interlinked words is absolutely true. Before I answer your questions, I would like our listeners, so-called believers and unbelieving kuffar, to understand the root causes of any and all actions taken by Muhammadan Muslims. All measures, no matter how unjust, evil, immoral or hideous, that were and are still taken by the occupying Muhammadan Muslims against their subjugated peoples on 3 continents, are rooted firmly in the Sharia law based entirely on Muhammad's Quran or his Sunnah and their interpretations. Since they are perceived by Muhammadans as divinely sanctioned by Allah, they are then unchallengeable and eternal. All protestations by anyone to the contrary is null and void and is pure deception. The mostly ignorant humanity about the facts and reality of Muhammadan Islam are regularly misled by Muhammadans and their apologists, who invariably and for obvious reasons quote the earlier conciliatory Meccan verses of the Quran without ever pointing out those that abrogated them, unsikhu, by later hate-mongering, warmongering and racist verses that were allegedly revealed to Muhammad during his Medina period. Al-Baqarah 2.256. Let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. A beautiful and very just verse that is abrogated or overruled or made redundant and unenforceable by the following verses. Al-Tawbah 9.29. Fight those who believe not in Allah, nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden, which had been forbidden by Allah and His Apostle, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, Islam, even if they are of the people of the book, Christians and Jews, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves humiliated. Al-Imran 3.85. If anyone desires a religion other than Islam, submission to Allah, never will it be accepted of him, and in the hereafter he will be in the ranks of those who have lost. There is obviously not even a shadow of ambiguity or doubt as to what these Medinan verses are directing the followers of Muhammad on how to treat and deal with the conquered Jews and Christians as well as others. Ahlul Kitab, meaning the people of the book, are the subjugated Christians and Jews of the Muhammadan Muslim Empire, who henceforth are called dhimmis, meaning protected people. Ladies and gentlemen, the word dhimmi was made famous by the author Bat Yaor in her monumental research, in her book Dhimmis and Dhimmitude, regarding the treatment meted out and is still being applied in this 21st century for the last 1400 years against Christians and Jews, as well later on as the empire expanded even further, included Zoroastrian Persians, Buddhists, and in very rare circumstances, even Hindus. The regurgitated Muhammadan myth of Islamic tolerance is as obscene as the Arab myth of the alleged Golden Age that the Christians and Jews supposedly lived under during their 700 years occupation of Andalusia, Spain. All the records that humanity has available based on Muhammadan Muslim reports, as well as eyewitness reports by writers under the Arab Empire, show how oppressive, retrograde and evil was the shadow of Muhammadan Islam wherever it cast itself anywhere on the face of the earth. As true Muhammadan Muslims, the Ottoman Turks applied Sharia law to the full upon their conquered and subjugated peoples. I would like to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that part and parcel of Sharia law was and is the Charter of Umar, as described in our chapter 26, that I must recite to you here because of its extreme relevance to the current subject and especially in the case of dhimmis. In the name of Allah, the Merciful and Compassionate. This is a letter to the servant of Allah, Umar, commander of the faithful, from the Christians of such and such a city. When you came against us, we asked you for safe conduct, aman, for ourselves, our descendants, our property, and the people of our community, and we undertake the following obligations towards you. We shall not build in our cities or their neighborhood new monasteries, churches, convents, or monk cells, nor shall we repair by day or by night such of them as fall in ruins or are situated in the quarters of the Muslims. We shall keep our gates wide open for passer-by and travelers. We shall give board and lodging to all Muslims who pass our way for 3 days. We shall not give shelter in our churches or in our dwellings to any spy, nor bide him from the Muslims. We shall not teach the Quran to our children. We shall not manifest our religion publicly, nor convert anyone to it. We shall not prevent any of our kin from entering Islam if they wish to. We shall show respect towards the Muslims, and we shall rise from our seats when they wish to sit. We shall not seek to resemble the Muslims by imitating any of their garments, their turban, footwear, or the parting of the hair. We shall not speak as they do, nor shall we adopt their kunyas. We shall not mount on saddles, nor shall we gird swords, nor bear any kind of arms, nor carry them on our persons. We shall not engrave Arabic inscriptions on our seals. We shall not sell fermented drinks. We shall clip the fronts of our heads. We shall always dress in the same way wherever we may be, and we shall bind the zunnar around our waists. We shall not display our crosses or our books in the roads or markets of the Muslims. We shall use only clappers in our churches very softly. We shall not raise our voices when following our dead. We shall not show slights on any of the roads of the Muslims or in their markets. We shall not bury our dead near the Muslims. We shall not take slaves who have been allotted to Muslims. We shall not build houses overtopping the houses of the Muslims. When I brought the letter to Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, he added, we shall not strike a Muslim. We accepted these conditions for ourselves and for the people of our community, and in return we receive safe conduct. I would like to address those followers of Muhammad who are listening to this chapter that these onerous, humiliating, degrading, immoral, and unjust rules were being perpetrated against Christians and Jews in their own occupied and conquered countries by the aggressing imperialist Mohammedan Arabs. Dhimmis means protected. Really? By whom? By the conquering Arabs who were jizya taxing them to oblivion? From whom were these dhimmis being protected? How were these dhimmis being protected when every single vestige of their dignity, wealth, liberty, and culture was and is being destroyed by their occupying Mohammedan Arabs? Dhimmitude actually meant only that the Christians and Jews were not forthwith exterminated, but were bled to death by onerous taxation and or forced to convert to Mohammedan Islam just to survive. This is exactly how millions upon millions of the conquered and subjugated peoples ended up doing from Iraq to India, from Egypt to Spain, and from Armenia to Vienna. That is why there are over 1,400 million Mohammedans, not only because of natural increase, but most important of all, through forced mass conversions over the centuries to escape the burdens that Mohammedan Muslims imposed upon the conquered peoples. We look forward to some revealing answers from you so-called believers. For well over a millennium, across 3 continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe, non-Muslims have experienced jihad war ideology and its ugly corollary institution, dhimmitude. Today, the debate among Muslim scholars regarding the theological correctness of lesser versus greater jihad are an insult to the memory of millions of non-Muslim victims, Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, Hindus, and Buddhists in countless wars of jihad. Thus far, with the typical Mohammedan Muslim mental state of denying any and all facts and reality, this brutal history has been completely denied and even celebrated as enlightened conquest and rule. Although they demand apologies from the West for their alleged imperialism, with astounding and unrivaled degree of hypocrisy and immorality, the Mohammedans offer none to any of their hundreds of millions of victims on 3 continents, but instead and in fact gloat over and glorify their misdeeds. In the history of Al-Tabari, Ta'rikh al-Rasul wal-Muluk, the renowned Mohammedan scholar's monumental historiography of the Arab-Muslim conquests, we read the recommendation given by Khalifa Umar ibn al-Khattab to the commander of the troops he sent to Al-Basra during the conquest of Iraq, 636 AD. Summon the people to Allah Those who respond to your call, accept it from them. This is to say, accept their conversion as genuine and refrain from fighting them. But those who refuse must pay the poll tax jizya out of humiliation and lowliness. Al-Tawbah 9.29. If they refuse this, it is the sword without leniency. Fear Allah with regard to what you have been entrusted.